Hello, my name is Sky, and I have an idea. I was watching public television the other day, and there's this show called Huell Howser. And Huell Howser, he basically travels around and looks at little, just curios, little tourist stops and places that of interest. And one of the places he went to recently was up in San Francisco. It was a garden that was basically under an underpass and on the side of a hill. That it's not really usable land. It's kind of near a residential area, and there wasn't too much it could be used for. So they turned part of it, this flatter part, into a softball park. But the rest of it, they turned over to this little old Filipino man who basically tended it as a garden. And it just, seemed very interesting to me that, this guy who, he's retired probably, didn't really have too much going on in his life, but, since he had all the spare time and, something to do, he just tended a garden. And he did it at the behest of the city. And I'm kind of thinking that, you know, maybe you could make this some, kind of a public, you know, area, something, that the rest of the country could do. Because it just seems to me that in some areas, especially like, where, this man's from the Philippines and very moist, very fertile environment, that, you basically have, wildlife growing everywhere. You can see this even in Hawaii when you go there. And I'm just kind of thinking that, maybe we could have this sort of idea happen for the rest of the country, all the major cities. That, you're going to have these dead spaces, these spaces which can't be used, really. Because, just, location, amounts of resources that can get there. So they're empty lots, they're, places, like just little nooks and crannies. And they're kind of like where vagrants hang out, and, or even, law offenses, crimes are committed as well. And I'm just kind of thinking that perhaps you could, employ the homeless people, people who, they don't want regular work, or they, they're kind of, they can't really fit into society. Offer them free training, and say that, if you basically tend this garden, which is such a simple, menial job, I'll pick up some trash and just be responsible. The city will fund for their food and shelter, and that way, they basically reintegrate the homeless people into society. They give them a purpose and a reason for being, and that way, they're not so bad off. They're not, so struggling, and they contribute back to society as well. And it's just up to their own pace. But I'd just be curious if you could, find some homeless people who would, be capable and willing to do this, because it seems that for some cases they just want that. They don't want any responsibilities. They don't want, anything like that, which I think could be worked out as well. You don't give the homeless person a key to a tool shed full of power tools and say, oh, here, you're in charge of it. You do give a full-on groundskeeper that comes by and works with the person, but otherwise, just the day-to-day little menial task, give it to a homeless guy. That all they want to do seems to just sit around. Just an idea.